Good morning, everybody. Movie Fan 2002 here, and at long last, after a few days of waiting, I'm here to give you guys my thoughts on the live action adaptation of Book One of Avatar: The Last Airbender, or of the Netflix version of it, to show at least what I thought of it. This is gonna be more of like my thoughts on it. I'm still gonna do like a pros and cons sort of thing, and I'll try not to make it too long as possible. There might be some spoilers in it, although this is more like a reincarnation of Book One. Although it's not like a shot-for-shot remake like a Disney live-action remake. So already that's like a good thing. So just wanted to. Anyways, what can I say about the OG Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated series we all know and love? Well, to be to be perfectly honest, I think it's okay. Okay, come on, you really got me. It's of course a fucking phenomenal series. It's my favorite animated show of all time. I mean, it's a flippin' masterpiece. In fact, if I were to I refuse to do a ranking because I absolutely adore the show. Absolutely adore the series. The only episodes in the show I'm not like too keen on is of course The Great Divide and Bato of the Water Tribe, mainly because of what they did with Aang's character in that episode. But other than that, like, everything else is just like a freaking phenomenal series. It's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I don't even need to go in full detail about it, but you already know by this point. So yeah, so when I heard that we were getting a live action adaptation of it, I will admit, at first I was kind of skeptical because I was worried it was going to fall into the category of, well, this. But I was willing to give it a try and wanted to see how it turned out. I was a bit worried, but as I started seeing more and more stuff, I started to get pretty excited. So, how was the series, you may ask? Or at least the book, or at least the first season? Well, let's start with the good stuff first. And already, right off the bat, I can easily say confidently that thank goodness it is not like the M. Night Shyamalan film. At least for me personally. It thankfully was so much better in every way. And that is just a massive W. They truly brought it with justice. So much well. In fact, and another good reason for that is that thank fucking God they don't mispronounce the names. They pronounce them exactly how they were in the animated series. Aang isn't called Aang, or Sokka isn't called Sokka. No. Or Avatar isn't pronounced as the Avatar. No. They're pronounced the exact same way as they are supposed to be pronounced. And that is how it's supposed to be. Thank you. Then again, the crew of the show didn't watch the M. Night Shyamalan movie in preparation, like when making this. So I think that is sort of a good thing. Yeah, the look of the series is also great, and I'm not just referring to the visual effects. Although I will admit there are a couple moments like when it is kind of dark that is a little bit hard to see in some places. Although it's not as bad as the M. Night Shyamalan film again. So, but for the most part, it's fantastic to look at. The sets look gorgeous. The costuming looks on par with the animated series. The characters look like how they did in the show. I mean, damn, they really nailed everyone into live action. Speaking of the visuals, the bending is accurate to how it was in the show. No, they're not doing a dance just so they can like lift a rock. No, when they bend, they freaking bend, and that's awesome. They nailed it pretty well, and even the makeup looks great. Heck, unlike the M. Night Shyamalan movie, at least they finally nailed Zuko's scar, even if it isn't like as accurate to the animated series, and we still see his eyebrow on the eye where he got a scar. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's an adaptation. Things are, of course, going to be changed. The performances were great from everyone. There are a couple weak links in the cast, and I'll get them kind of later. But for the and I might discuss them or I might not. But many of them were fantastic. If I gotta bring up my personal favorites, they would have to be. It would have to be, and forgive me if I don't pronounce the names right. Gordon Kamir as Aang, Kalintio Tarbell as Katara, Ian Osley as Sokka, and who is one of the three, and of course, in my opinion, Dallas James Liu as Zuko and Paul Sun Hung Lee as Iroh, the man himself. Oh yeah, like they just gave fantastic performances, and I just think they were all off the ball fantastic. And they, in fact, not gonna lie, like in fact, some of the lines in the show are like, it's definitely like characters you would hear them say in the anime show as well. I even like the actor who played Monkey Otso. I thought he was great. We even get to, in fact, we get a bit more of him in this series. Okay, maybe not like a huge amount, but like at least a good amount as well. Some of the new changes that they added were pretty good as well. Yes, I know there are some that are kind of questionable, like the whole thing of like with Sozan's comment like not being addressed like in this season, because spoiler alerts, we don't hear about it again until like near the very end. But although to be fair, this was mainly had to do like with the actors aging, so it does sort of make sense with there being a time skip. Although with Gordon like having like hair, I guess that can make sense for the first half of season 3. But we'll get there when we get there. But some of the other changes I did like, the ones the two standouts, at least for me personally, was one of, and this is possibly the most tragic of the bunch, the air nomads getting wiped out. Okay, we know that they got wiped out, but we actually get to see it, and it's heart-wrenching. Like, my God, I was having to look away from the screen at some parts because it was just so painful what I was watching. Like, no, don't kill off the air nomads. But I know it had to happen, but my God, it really is just painful. It really hurts. Which also makes a scene in the season where Aang actually sees Monkey Otso in the spirit world, and it leads to such an emotional moment, and it was just, my God, he's like the closest thing. Monkey Otso was like the closest thing he had to a father for Aang. And the second addition I love is actually, and I know some people might be indifferent with this one, but for me, is Zhao working with Azula. Considering that Azula has a bigger role in this version, before she invades Omashu. Well, although Omashu wasn't invaded by her in the OG series, it was actually pretty cool to see. It was pretty cool to see her working alongside Azula. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Not to mention some of like the ideas that she would get. I mean, outside of the whole. Not to mention some of the ideas she have outside of the whole like killing the moon spirit. I mean, the moon spirit definitely works for the show. Yeah, for the show. For Azula's character, like it really shows like she's still so threatening as she was before. Maybe not as threatening like yet, but it is still pretty cool. The action in the series is also so fantastic. It was just so great to seeing all the characters like work out their bending, like, and again, considering that it's like the accurate bending this time, it was so cool to see. There are also some funny moments in the show as well. They're not that laugh out loud hilarious, but they are pretty cool. But of course, there was definitely some that did have me laughing. And yes, the cabbage merchant is in the show, who, believe it or not, was actually voiced by the same guy who played him in the OG series. No, I mean, was played by the same guy who voiced him in the OG series. But like, oh my God, that was just so awesome. It was so great to see him again. So good. And the last thing I will touch upon is that like I thought some of the episodes like were very strong. Like the premiere and the finale were pretty good. Like I thought they were like the big standouts. And I'll admit like episode 5 when they're in the spirit world, that was also a pretty good one. The other ones ranged from like decent to also good, but like I think those were like the big standouts. However, as much as I did enjoy the season, unlike the OG series, it does have its flaws. And here we go. If I gotta point out the big issue, at least for me personally, is that while I am happy it's not a complete shot-for-shot adaptation, some things do go a bit out of order. And when I mean out of order, it's like in some episodes, some characters who are introduced later in the season like in the OG series, would come in and like in like the same episode. No joke. In episode 3, where Aang, Katara, and Sokka go to Amashu, they see that kid who's the kid from the episode who has like his disabled legs. I'm sorry, I forgot like his name. And that inventor where he works for the Fire Nation, but then like turns his back against him. Like he's there, and then later but also Jet is also there as well, which is, and his crew like whoa, really? Like we're doing this? Don't you think that's a little bit shocking? I mean, I can get behind Azula, May, and Ty Lee being in the season because while still at the Fire Nation Army, but this just feels a little bit off in my opinion. I don't know, just it's something to me. Not to mention that also Aang instantly recognized Boomy a little bit too instantly, which I get why they were trying to do that, but I felt like it felt a bit off when you compare it to in the OG series, at least for me. Another thing I might have is like the reason why they had to go to the north. I mean, now I was aware about this ahead of time, but I felt like it felt a little bit off because it felt a little bit off. I mean, it didn't anger me too much, and I didn't feel angry about it, but it did felt kind of, what? That felt kind of off for me. Like, yeah, I know, I'm like picking on some like the adaptation changes that they made. Okay, enough about like the changes. What about some stuff from the OG series, like that was in the episode? Another thing I have is that like another issue I have is that some of the pacing in some episodes can feel a little bit slow or a bit too fast in some points. It's not too bad. It's not that bad, at least not for me, but it does kind of feel a bit off. That, and also this is one I do consider to be a bit of an issue, and you're gonna be shocked when I say this. Never once in this season, outside of maybe the finale, do we see Aang try to learn waterbending. I'm really hoping they fix that in book 2 and book 3, because that's one of the most crucial elements for the series. I mean, I get, because look, I can excuse the whole fact of not having like the whole ticking time clock for Sozin's comment because the actor's aging. But come on, Aang still needs to learn waterbending. It's book 1, and the subtitle for book 1 is water. What the heck? He's the Avatar. He's supposed to learn these elements. I'm sorry. I know it's just a little bit frustrating with that kind of thing. That, and also another thing that kind of felt off to me is that, well, that Katara did have at least a couple moments of rage. There are some moments where she does get angry, but I wish she had one of those more rage angry moments. I really hope they fix that with season 3, because, well, as you can tell, during that part of during the second half of season 3, for like a good chunk of it, she is not happy with having Zuko around. Like, in fact, he threatened to kill him, which, of course, in one of the last episodes of the series, sparked a moment that the fans hated, although I don't get due to her act of revenge. And I think you know what scene I'm talking about, but we're not going to go there right now. And the last problem I have with this season is that Momo and Appa were kind of sidelined here. I mean, yes, they are still in the season as characters, but like they get kind of sidelined to the side. I mean, sure, they're still traveling on Appa, but in the OG series, both he and Momo had a lot of personality, and you can definitely feel that. But it's kind of absent here. I'm really hoping that seasons 2 and 3 fix that. Now, despite all my issues, I still had a very good time with this season. It's not as good as the OG series, no doubt about that. I knew that going in, but I can't deny that this was still a really fun show, regardless. And I definitely want to see what happens next with seasons 2 and 3. It was that dang good. Yeah, sure. Flaws and all, I still really enjoyed it. If I were to give this a rating, I would give it I'd say a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. They're both pretty. It was pretty good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it for what it is. And I'm really looking forward to see who they cast as Toph for season 2. I can definitely tell she's gonna be as awesome as she was in season 1. Oh right, I forgot to mention the music is also great praise for the series, for the season. The music was just fantastic, especially when we hear the recreation of the show's theme, and they actually play the end credits theme of the OG series in the comments, it goes. Okay, I know it's not a good translation, but you get what I mean. But yeah, anyways, thank you all so much for watching my thoughts on the Netflix version of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Comment down below and let me know what you guys thought about it. Especially that I know that there are a lot of people with a lot of wide reactions that are kind of divisive. Although to be fair, I'm not gonna take those people who think it's worse than the M. Night Shyamalan film seriously, because come on, it can't get worse than that. But for real here, comment down below, let me know your thoughts on it. Stay tuned, I'll have some other videos coming away in the future. And until next time, peace and take care. Okay, man. Well, that's gonna be awesome, but when are we going to see the return of our OG animated game? Wait. What is that?
He's alive! He's alive! It is time!